My sister texted, "Let me have my moment," after asking me to pretend my apartment belonged to her while her in-laws were visiting. So I responded, "Your big moment shouldn't be built on lies." My heart did that cold drop thing, like an elevator stopping too fast. I stared at the text and at the little picture of my son's Lego set in the cart. I typed, "Which key the one mom has?" She wrote, "Relax, we'll be gone Sunday night. You won't even know we were there." That last line made my jaw clench. Every time someone in my family said, "You won't even know," it meant I would absolutely know in the form of trash bags, mystery stains, and missing food. I checked the time. 5:17 p.m., Friday. My 6-year-old Liam was with his mom this weekend. I was supposed to spend the next 2 days finally not cleaning up after anyone. Just me, my code, and a stupid amount of pizza. Instead, my brain started counting. Megan, plus her husband Jason, his parents, his brother, and fiancé. They're 2 kids. That's already 7. Megan never travels without at least one friend or random cousin. Call it 8. 8 people in my 2-bedroom rental in Capitol Hill with my stuff, my work laptop, Liam's things. I'd already set the milk on the checkout belt. I grabbed it back and stepped out of line. The cashier gave me a look. I muttered, "Sorry," and moved toward the wall of red carts like I needed cover. I texted, "No, you can't stay at my place this weekend." The typing bubble popped up immediately. "Caleb, you're being dramatic. We already told them their bags are in the car. We're 10 minutes away." I looked at the timestamp again, 5:18. My apartment was 11 minutes from that target in light traffic. I opened the Smart Lock app, the one I'd installed last week after the last time my parents borrowed my place for Megan's overflow guests, and I came home to find my monitor moved and my underwear drawer clearly rummaged through. The app showed one thing that made my heart beat slow just a fraction. Front door smart lock, online auto lock enabled. I scrolled to the camera tab and tapped my doorbell feed. The view of my hallway popped up. My doormat, the ugly beige of the building carpet. The deadbolt that no longer did anything because it didn't have a key. Only the smart lock did. Megan had no idea. I texted Mom, "Doesn't have a key anymore." 3 dots. "What are you talking about?" "I changed the locks last week. I wrote smart lock now. No one gets in without a code." It took her a full minute to respond. That was how I knew she was really mad. "You didn't tell anyone. That's so selfish." Selfish. There it was, the family word for "you're not letting us use you like free infrastructure." Instead of responding, I opened the family group chat. 23 unread messages from earlier, memes, my mom's chain prayers, my dad's political rants, Megan's kids' soccer pics. I typed heads up. Megan is trying to move 8 people into my apartment for the weekend without asking. I said no. Mom responded first. She always had her phone in her hand like it was part of her cardiovascular system. "Caleb, don't make a scene. Family helps family. You're a single guy. You'll be fine for one weekend." Single guy. Not a father who shares custody. Not a person whose name is on the lease. Just a placeholder with Wi-Fi. My hands felt weirdly cold even though the target was overheated. I pulled my hoodie sleeve down, pushed my cart to the side, and headed for the exit. My phone buzzed again. This time it was the doorbell camera notification. Motion detected. Front door. I tapped it. The feed flipped open and there they were, right on schedule. Megan in her camel coat messy bun yelling at someone off camera. Jason behind her with a rolling suitcase in each hand. An older couple I recognized from holiday photos. His parents. A younger guy with a beard and AirPods. A woman with a high ponytail. 2 kids bouncing around, each dragging a little suitcase that kept tipping over. 8 people. My brain counted automatically like it was taking inventory of the threat. I watched Megan dig in her purse, pull out my old silver key, and jam it into the deadbolt. The deadbolt turned uselessly. The smart lock stayed the calm, glowing blue. Megan frowned, jiggled the knob harder, then shoulder-checked the door like that would help. "Why isn't this opening?" she said. Her voice came through the camera mic tinny and annoyed. Jason tried next like his male shoulders could fix technology. He twisted the handle. Nothing. This isn't funny. Megan snapped at the door like I'd personally turned into wood. My phone buzzed with a new text from her. "Open the door. This is ridiculous." I didn't text back. Instead, I tapped the little camera icon in the top corner of my doorbell feed. Share then fam, then go live. Seconds later, a notification popped up in the group chat. Caleb started a live video. I watched as little icons appeared at the top of the feed. Mom, Dad, my cousin Nick. On screen, Megan kept yanking the handle. Her kids were complaining. One of Jason's parents said, "Are you sure this is the right building?" Megan turned to the camera, eyes narrowed. Caleb, if you can't hear me, stop being childish and let us in, she said, voice pitched low like she was being reasonable. We told them we're staying here. Don't embarrass us. I could actually see my mother reacting in the chat. Mom, Caleb, honey, just give them the code. We'll talk about boundaries later. Boundaries later, access now. My heart was beating hard, but my voice was steady when I hit the mic button on the camera. Hi, I said the apartment is not available this weekend. You'll need to get a hotel. Everyone in the hallway jumped and looked straight into the camera like it was a horror movie, and the house talked back. What Jason's dad said. Megan's face went red fast. You're seriously doing this, she hissed. With everyone watching, I watched the viewer count in the group chat tick up. Aunt Linda, Uncle Joe, my parents, my cousin in Phoenix, all of them watching my front door in real time like it was their favorite show. I didn't scream. I didn't drive over there. I just kept holding the phone, kept the stream running, and let them show everyone exactly who they were. People are always more shocked by the first visible boundary than by the 100 invisible violations that came before it. I'm Caleb, 32, software engineer in Seattle. Back in dev, mostly AP is authentication, all the boring plumbing that lets other people's pretty apps actually work. Which is funny because in my family, I'm the plumbing too. The hidden infrastructure, the person who makes things smooth so everyone else can show up, smile, and pretend the house magically runs itself. When I moved to this apartment 3 years ago, it was supposed to be temporary. I just split from my ex, Jules. We were trying to figure out co-parenting with Liam, who was 4 back then and obsessed with trains and anything that could smash into anything else. My credit wasn't great after the breakup. My parents co-signed the lease. That was the lever. I didn't understand that at the time. At the time, it felt like help. You're lucky, Mom kept saying. Most parents wouldn't do this. We're giving you a fresh start. What she meant was, we now consider your apartment part of our inventory. The first incident was small. Megan texted me on a Thursday night. Hey, our friends are flying in for the weekend. All the hotels are crazy expensive because of the music festival. Can they crash at your place? You'll be at Jules's with Liam anyway. I hesitated. Maybe one night. We already told them the whole weekend, she wrote. Don't make it awkward, they're super chill. You won't even know they were there. I swallowed it, told myself it was no big deal. I changed the sheets, hid anything expensive, and left a spare key under the mat like an idiot. When I came home Sunday night, the place smelled like weed and Axe body spray. There were beer bottles on every surface. Someone had left a half-eaten burrito in Liam's room on his tiny train table. My monitor had been moved. My router was on the floor. My toothbrush was wet. Sorry, they're messy. Megan texted when I sent her a photo. But see, no harm done. I spent 3 hours scrubbing, no harm done, off my walls. The second incident was with my parents. Dad's cousin is in from Chicago. Mom said over Sunday dinner, like we were discussing dessert. We booked them a hotel, but it's so cold out and the drive would be such a pain. It would be so much smoother if they could just stay at your place. Smooth. Another family word. Smooth equals convenient for them. Expensive for me. I have Liam this week. I said there's not really space. Dad frowned like I just suggested we burn the American flag. He's little. He said he'll sleep anywhere. Put him in bed with you. It's one weekend. Caleb family helps. I looked at Liam, who was sitting at their table carefully arranging peas into a perfect little line on his plate. He wasn't even eating them, just counting under his breath like the math might protect him. I gave in, moved Liam into my bed, gave up my own sleep so my parents wouldn't have to say no to someone they saw once every 5 years. There, thank you. Was a text from Mom the next day. See, that wasn't so hard. This is what family does. We all share in our house. Never meant them sharing anything with me. The third incident was bigger. Megan decided to host Thanksgiving one year, not at her own townhouse in Bellevue. Obviously, that would mean cleaning and buying enough chairs. We'll do it at Caleb's, she announced in the group chat. He's central. Easy for everyone. She didn't ask me. She announced it. I read the messages at my desk between code reviews, my stomach turning. I typed, I'm not comfortable hosting 20 people. My place is small, and I have Liam. Megan replied, You're overreacting. We'll bring food. You just have to open the door. Mom jumped in. Let your sister have this. It's important. You know we don't have space. Your apartment is practically family property anyway. We helped you get it. Family property. Liam saw my face when I read that. He was at my place that night sitting at the coffee table with his crayons. You look mad, he said. I'm thinking, I said. My mouth felt dry. Is Grandma in trouble? he asked. Serious? I laughed once. No humor? No buddy? He went quiet. He picked up his blue crayon and started drawing a house. Then halfway through, he erased the door. He didn't say why. That should have been my sign. Back then, I kept telling myself it was temporary. Once my credit got better and I could refinance once Liam was older, once I made senior engineer and had more leverage, I thought the imbalance was a phase. It wasn't. It was the system. Back to the hallway. 8 people and the live stream. Mom was typing in the chat fast enough that her words kept stacking. Turn that off. This is humiliating. You're making Megan look bad in front of Jason's parents. I read each line and felt something in me click into place. Not break, just lock. On screen, Megan's kids were starting to cry. Jason's mom took one of them aside and said, "It's okay, sweetie. Uncle Caleb is just having a moment." A moment. Jason stepped closer to the camera, his jaw tight. "Dude," he said, "this is not cool. We drove 3 hours and I pay rent 365 days a year," I said into the mic. My voice sounded annoyingly calm even to me. "This is my home. You didn't ask. You told—" Jason rolled his eyes. "You're seriously going to make my parents get a hotel? Everything's booked for the festival." Mom's message pinged again. "Caleb offered to pay for one night. It's the right thing." I stared at that sentence. The right thing with my salary, my bills, my kid. Megan's household income was double mine. Jason was a sales manager. His parents owned a beach house, but sure, I was the one who should pay. Megan saw her chance. She jumped back in front of the camera. "You know what?" she said, voice bright with fake reason. "Fine, keep your precious apartment. We'll just tell everyone you kicked your family out on the sidewalk. Tell them I said. Make sure you include the part where you tried to move in 8 people without permission while I wasn't home." The viewer count ticked up again. My cousin sent a single wide eyes emoji. My dad finally chimed in. "Enough, Caleb. End this. And stop embarrassing us." I felt my heartbeat in my fingertips. "No," I typed back in the chat. "Explain why you gave out keys to my apartment after I asked you not to." Silence. Megan tried the handle one more time like the door might have changed its mind. The smart lock glowed blue. Steady. She looked up at the camera and said very clearly, "If you don't let us in, don't ever ask this family for help again." There it was. The threat, the lever. I remembered every help I'd gotten. The co-signed lease, the temporary storage of my childhood boxes in their garage that turned into leverage whenever they wanted something. The random loans that came with invisible strings. I ended the live stream. The family chat exploded. Calls started coming in. Mom is calling. Dad is calling. I let them ring out instead. I opened the Files app on my phone and created a new folder: apartment access and incidents. I saved the doorbell video screenshot. The texts took a screen recording of the chat with the live stream. That's when I stopped arguing and started documenting. The next wave hit that night. I was back at my apartment, groceries finally in my fridge, sitting at my kitchen table with my laptop open. The doorbell cam showed the hallway empty. My phone was buzzing every few minutes. Mom called again. I answered this time only because I wanted the recording. She didn't even say hello. "Caleb, what has gotten into you?" "I'm enforcing a boundary," I said. "That's all a boundary." She laughed brittle. "This isn't therapy. This is real life." Megan had guests. "You embarrassed all of us. They embarrassed themselves," I said, by assuming they could take over my home. "You're not being flexible," she snapped. "We all decided your apartment would be our overflow when needed. That's why we co-signed. It benefits everyone." Family property out loud this time. "Who is we?" I asked. Did anyone ask me? Silence on her end? Then don't be ridiculous. I opened a note and typed her exact words as she said them. "You said," I read back. "We all decided my apartment would be overflow. I'm telling you that's not acceptable." "You're twisting things," she said sharply. "Keep this up and don't come crying to us when you need help with Liam or money." "I'm not asking for help," I said. "I'm asking for respect." She hung up on me. 10 minutes later, I got an email from my building manager, Michelle. Subject question: "Are guests accessing your unit?" My stomach dropped. "Hi, Caleb. We had a group stop by the office today saying they were relatives of yours and needed a key since they were locked out. As per policy, we obviously did not provide access without your authorization, but they insisted you wanted them to stay in your unit. Can you please confirm your guest policy / whether anyone else should have access moving forward? Thanks, Michelle." I exhaled slowly. Of course, I muttered. Of course they went to management. I hit reply. "Hi, Michelle. Thank you for following policy and not letting them in. To be clear, no one other than myself is authorized to access my unit. Please do not provide keys or open the door to anyone else regardless of what they say. For the record, today's group was not invited and attempted to enter without my consent. Best, Caleb. I attached the doorbell video, hit send. The next morning, Megan tried a more practical angle. She texted, "You'll need Mom for Liam's pickups when you're at work. If you freeze her out over this, good luck." There it was, the childcare lever. I stared at the message. Thought about Liam sitting quietly at their table arranging peace. Thought about how he always came back from their house a little smaller, a little more careful. Then I opened the folder again and saved that text too. Later that day, I sent one more message to the family chat. From now on, nobody is allowed in my apartment without my explicit written permission for specific dates. Any attempt to enter without that is trespassing. This is not up for debate. Mom replied instantly. You're making a legal issue out of family. Yes, I thought. Exactly. 2 days after the lock incident, I got called into the building office. Michelle had that property manager look on her face, part tired, part done with everyone's nonsense. Hey, Caleb, she said, gesturing to the chairs. Can you sit for a sec? I sat. My palms were sweating a little. I hate confrontation even when I'm right. She pulled up a video on her monitor. I watched your doorbell footage, she said, and the footage from our hallway cams. On the screen, there was my family again. 8 people, luggage, frustration. Megan pounding on the door. Jason gesturing, Jason's dad throwing his hands up. So these people don't live here? Michelle asked. No, I said they never have and they don't have a right to be in your unit. No. Michelle nodded once sharp. Okay then, we have a problem. She clicked another file. An email log. Your sister, I think Megan, she sent us an email this morning saying she has standing permission to use your unit when needed because your parents co-signed. She said we need to honor the family agreement. My stomach flipped. She's lying, I said. I figured, Michelle said dryly. That's why I wanted to talk to you in person. She slid a paper across the desk. This is a formal, no unauthorized entry notice we can file with the building's security vendor. It basically notes that no one besides you is allowed key or code access. If anyone else tries to get in, we're obligated to treat it as trespass, and if needed, call police. We'll also log today's footage as an attempted unauthorized entry. The word police made my chest tighten. I'm not trying to have my sister arrested. I said I just want my home back. You'd be surprised how fast people get respectful when the word trespassing is involved. Michelle said, this just gives us something official to point to. The paper had blank spaces. Authorized occupant. Caleb James Mercer. Other authorized individuals blank. I picked up the pen. My hand shook for half a second, then steadied. I signed. Michelle counter-signed. Okay, she said. Now if they show up again, call us, then call the non-emergency police line. Don't open the door. I nodded. On my way back to the elevator, my phone buzz. Mom again. Family meeting tonight. The group chat lit up. We need to clear the air. 7:00 p.m. on Zoom. Mandatory. Mandatory. At 7:00 p.m., I logged in. Megan was already there, square jaw clenched, sitting at her kitchen island. Jason stood behind her like backup muscle. My parents were side by side on their couch. Okay, Mom said, performing hostess even on Zoom. Let's be adults. I almost laughed. Dad cut in. Caleb, what you did was out of line. You humiliated your sister and made the whole family look unstable. You tried to break into my apartment, I said on camera. Megan bristled. Break in. We had a key. We've always had a key. You changed the locks without telling anyone. That's shady. It's my lease. I said I'm allowed to secure my home. Mom leaned in. We are your parents. We co-signed. That gives us some rights. No, I said it doesn't. I held up my phone. This, I went on, is an email from the property manager, and this is a notice we signed today stating that I am the only person authorized to access my unit. Anyone else trying to enter will be treated as trespassing under building policy and if needed by law. I didn't make a speech. I just read the sentence off the paper. In the event of any unauthorized access attempt, security and/or police may be contacted. That line landed hard. Mom's face drained of color. Dad opened his mouth, then shut it. Jason stopped looking so casual. You went to management, Dad demanded. You dragged the building into our family business. You dragged the building into it when you showed up asking for a key, I said. Megan scoffed. So, what? You're going to have us arrested? I'm going to protect my home, I said. And my kids' space. You're weaponizing the system against us, Mom said, voice shaking with anger. I thought about all the times they'd weaponized help. Housing money, child air. I'm using the system to set a boundary, I replied. They all started talking at once. Accusations, guilt trips after everything we've done. You're choosing an apartment over your family. Think about holidays. I didn't argue, I didn't yell. I waited for a pause, then said one sentence. Effective today. None of you have access to my home, my keys, or my codes. That's not negotiable. Mom stared at me like she didn't recognize me. Caleb, if you do this, you're cutting yourself off, she said. Don't come crawling back when you need us. I looked at my own square on the screen. Tired, yes, but steady. I'll take that risk, I said. And then I did the irreversible thing. I ended the call, removed every single one of them from my smart lock apps, trusted contacts, deleted the old code Mom used to have, and created a new one, only I know. Then I opened the family group chat, scrolled to the top, and quietly left the conversation. The first weekend after all that, Liam came over with his backpack and his stuffed fox. He walked into the apartment, stopped and looked around like he was checking for invisible people. No one's here, I said. Just us. He relaxed. Actually relaxed like he'd been bracing for someone to be on our couch. Can we build the Lego city, he asked. All weekend, I said. We spent 2 days on the living room floor. No unexpected footsteps in the hallway. No buzzing phone I was scared to look at. Just brick snacks and Liam's running commentary about which minifigure was in charge. At one point, he glanced at the front door. Grandma doesn't have a key anymore, he asked. Nobody, I said. Only me. He was quiet for a second, then nodded. Good, he said simply, and went back to building. That night, after he fell asleep in his own bed in his own room, I sat at my kitchen table and looked through the apartment access and incidents folder, the videos, the screenshots, the emails. It didn't feel like aggression. It felt like clarity. Over the next weeks, the family tried different tactics. Mom sent a long text. Half guilt, half PR. We're all human. We make mistakes. Don't throw away your family over a misunderstanding. Megan is willing to forgive you. Forgive me. Then came the nice play. Megan dropped off a gift at my door one afternoon. I saw her on the camera and didn't buzz her in. When I went down later, there was a bag, superhero pajamas for Liam, and a note. Let's put this behind us. We're family. You know you'll need us eventually. Love, Meg. I stood in the lobby reading it, the smell of someone else's dinner in the air. I took the pajamas upstairs, washed them, let Liam wear them because he didn't do anything wrong. I did not text Megan a thank you. When Mom realized the guilt and the gifts weren't working, she tried one last line. She called on a random Tuesday number, lighting up my phone. I let it go to voicemail. She left a message. Caleb, she said, this is silly. Open the door. Let us be your family again. Housing isn't a boundary. It's a family resource. I listened to it twice. Then I deleted it and blocked her number. I didn't do it in anger. I did it the way you uninstall an app that keeps draining your battery while pretending to be helpful. Now, months later, life is quieter. Not perfect, not easy, just mine. I pick Liam up from school. We walk past other parents, other grandparents. I feel a sting sometimes watching the easy hugs, the uncomplicated joy. I won't lie about that. But when we come home, I put my key in the lock, my key, and my chest doesn't tighten anymore. This winter, Jules and I coordinated a tiny birthday party for Liam at my place. 3 kids, pizza, Minecraft, cupcakes, chaos, but the good kind. At one point, Jules pulled me aside. It feels different in here, she said. Lighter new light bulbs, I joked. She gave me a look. The kind that says, I see through you, but I'm letting you have this. Later that night, after everyone left, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I ignored it. A minute later, a text came through from an email address I recognized as Megan's. Hope you're happy, it said. You've made things so awkward. Remember, we're still your family. I typed back slowly. I know you're my family. I'm just no longer available for being used as free housing. That's done. I hit send. She didn't reply. I set my phone face down, turned off the living room light, and checked Liam one more time. He was asleep in his superhero pajamas, one hand on his stuffed fox, breath soft and even. I stood in the doorway, fingers lightly touching the frame. For the first time in a long time, my home felt like an actual boundary, not a hallway other people pass through. And that's the moral I keep coming back to. Access to me and my space and my kids' space is not a family right. It's a privilege, and I'm the one who decides who has it.